channel. So I am hoping that I am now being able to be heard, because I was not being heard. So you can let me know if you do hear me. We are actually dealing with how we can rewire our subconscious mind so we can know and learn about our own mind. Okay? That is something that we all can know. We can all learn and know how to navigate through situations. It's only because we were not taught in school that we have difficulty knowing what to do. So we kind of hide from our mind or our brain, and we do not have to do that. We can actually know how to navigate through things. Okay? So, oh, I think I did a manual one. Here we go. Automatic. There we go. Okay. So here we go. I am actually going to see if I can be heard on my channel. And if I can, that is great. If not, I don't know what went on.
This print prints everything to get your brand in front of your fans, like t-shirts, water bottles, and totes, so everyone can.
This is Renee Thomas with DIY Mental Boost.
So
Yes! My sound is back! DIY Mental Boost. Hi, thank you. I was having such a hard time getting my sound up. I've been trying for like 38 minutes. But I'm glad you're here, because that means I have someone to talk to. My name is Renee Thomas. I am with DIY Mental Boost, and we're all about our mind. I'm an advocate and I'm a presenter for the brain, everyone's brain. Only because of a gap in our education are we sometimes befuddled with our brain. And this befuddlement has caused a lot of anxiety and stress. Okay? A lot of anxiety and stress. And people throughout life are trying to navigate with something that is actually very navigatable. But there was a gap. Okay? There was a gap in our education. And that gap in our education was about neuroplasticity. I was 48 years old when I learned about neuroplasticity. I probably had heard about it, but I didn't know about it. I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know how to use it in my life. It's actually our feature in our mind that we are actually in charge of. So if you ever hear people say, hey, it's possible to, thank you. Thank you. It's possible to regulate what we think and what we say, that it's true. Now, you'll hear a lot of people, they'll say, why did someone say that it's all natural and it's all human? Okay? And so the thing is this. We have to understand that when we start to learn a little bit about our mind and what's going on, then we are able to navigate. So in the past, in school, growing up, we had little education about what we should do. We had very little education. Yes, cool kid, I said hi. I saw you, or I don't know if you were saying hi to other people, but welcome. Welcome, Ricardo. So, Ricardo? Anyway, so the thing is that when it comes to our brain, when you know information about it, life will be different. Before neuroplasticity, I was like navigating life like I had a hand map, trying to figure out stuff. And now it's like a GPS. It's like a GPS. And so I'm here to share how it is that we can easily, one of the easiest ways that we can actually help our mind do well. It's one of the easiest ways. Now, I had to go live on another link because I was supposed to be sharing about how it is that we can use command statements while sleeping in order to rewire. But due to difficulty, I'm here on this link. And so that's what we're here talking about today. Okay? We're talking about the brain and how wonderful it is. So most people, when they're trying to work with their mind, they may find it difficult, or they may find it kind of vague, or they may just not want to have to deal with anything emotional or thinking about thoughts because it seems like it's just too much. And like I said, that's just because of the gap in our education. So instead of us learning this stuff like we learned math and arithmetic when we were younger, so for most people, math and arithmetic, reading is no big deal. Neuroplasticity would be the same way. And so what I'm here to do is, in a very short period of time, people can learn about their mind and start to actually use it in a very useful way, because your brain is your tool. And until I understood that, I didn't think of it as a tool that I was in charge of. I just thought it was something that was doing all kinds of stuff because no one really told me. So DIY Mental Boost, we're a channel for prevention and we're a channel for resolution. Okay? Coping and managing has to do with coping with something because you can't change it, or managing the degree of what it's doing. And that does have its place in certain things. But we all want to level up to prevention and resolution. Do you want to manage anxiety, or do you want to resolve and prevent it? Does anyone have an opinion on that? So that's the question we all get to ask. And this channel is about prevention and a resolution. If you hang out here, you'll find out that I actually do know what I'm talking about. And so the more you learn, okay, whether you learn it from me or for someone else, it's neuroplasticity, subconscious rewiring, and emotional intelligence. Okay, I meld all three of them to make it simple, so you don't have to bouncing all around trying to figure out what it is and things like that. And so we're going to start off just real quick. Neuroplasticity is basically a fancy term. It's a big word, but it's okay. It's a big word, but don't worry about it. But it's basically describing your brain's ability to learn and to adapt. Okay, so you're going to think of it as an internal wiring process that allows your mind to grow and meet expectations from new and increased demands, whether it's emotional or whether it's actions or anything like that. Okay? So remember that when it comes to your mind, you are the one who is in charge. Okay? You're the one who is in charge. Okay, Nick, I'm going to have to put you in timeout. I'm going to give you 5 minutes, then you can come back in so that you can focus on what I'm saying. Okay, so then we have emotional intelligence. It refers to the ability to perceive, understand, and manage one's own emotions and relationships. It involves being aware of emotions in oneself and in others, and using this awareness to guide thinking and behavior, because we all can do that. Okay? Now, subconscious rewiring refers to the process at altering those patterns and beliefs and that are held in our subconscious mind. So does anybody know the difference between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind? Anybody know the difference between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind? Okay, so the subconscious mind is your logic. Basic. I'm just going to say it like that. There's other things, but just to make it simple, it's the logic. It's our thinking. Okay, the reasoning. And the subconscious is more with our emotions and our feelings. And that subconscious is in charge, not of just our emotions and feelings, but everything we think and do and hear, our behaviors. And it's up to 85%. So you may find it difficult to deal with emotions and behaviors because you're consciously trying to make your brain do things a certain way. But it's actually coming from the subconscious. So once you address the subconscious, then the conscious efforts become very effortless. Okay, so here we go. We're dealing with command statements that empower your subconscious so that your actions, your thoughts, what you think and what you do is always in an elevated state. Because we're leveling up from chasing our emotions, chasing our thoughts, chasing our behaviors to actually being the ones that are in charge. And the easiest way to do this, are you ready for this? The easiest way to do this is to address the subconscious. And you can actually address the subconscious while you're sleeping. Is that cool? Yes. I'm going to put a heart because I think that's so cool. So when you know how to talk to your subconscious will be your best friend. It will help you in amazing ways. Okay? So we're doing command statements. Now, why are we doing a command statement? You want to know? Okay. So a command statement is not a question. It is not something from desperation. It's just a command statement. Like you may tell your child, I want you to go pick up your room, then you can watch TV. That's it. It's just a command statement. That's what you're going to do. So you have to get that way with your brain. It's just a command statement. And those command statements can then turn into subconscious programs that the brain will actually automatically do. Everything you're thinking, feeling, doing, and hearing right now, when I'm talking to you, the message that you're getting, the vibe that you're getting, that is all coming from your subconscious programs. We all got those programs from the time we were in third trimester up to about 7, absorbed in from our environment, our parents, the TV, everything we think and feel that we feel is just our own that we're doing. It's actually we're programs. And then as we start to grow up, now some of us can get rid of certain programs because they just made the decision they weren't going to do this or that and change maybe the way their parents did. And they're able to do that. But sometimes the emotions and the feelings are still really attached to them. So it actually puts them in a drive, a high drive, a desperate drive to be different than the people that are around them. Okay? And all of that is coming from your subconscious. Most people call it about their past. You know, you're bringing your past to the present. And the information out there is very vague on what to do. But there is a solution. It's called prevention, resolution. You use your neuroplasticity information to talk to your subconscious mind. Now, the easiest way to do that, if it's effortless, if you're having mental fog, if it's just the concept is too much, if you just want to start something simple that'll help to clear up things, not make you feel like you're doing one more thing, I can't do one more thing, you're going to do this. And this is command statements while sleeping. You'll prep the brain before you go to sleep with command statements. Doesn't make a difference if you believe them. It just means statements that you want to live your life by, and you're telling your brain. And then you go to sleep, and then your subconscious, which never sleeps, will chew on all of what you put in there, all those command statements. Okay? And throughout the night, it can start to rewire things. Isn't that cool? Now, if you're a person who does well with maybe like going to sleep with music or anything like that, well, then you can use the longer videos that I have. Okay? And they will be playing while you're sleeping and your brain will be listening. But it's not necessary. As soon as you have put in your command statements and you're going to sleep, you will, until you're sleeping, say something like, all is well for me and all is well for my loved ones. And you just keep saying that until you go to sleep. You see, the brain learns by repetition. Okay? It loves repetition. That's why when individuals get sad and they don't know how to get themselves out of it because they've repetitiously taught the brain to do that. So now the brain is just doing it, and or the subconscious and the conscious mind. And you're saying, I don't want to be sad anymore. I don't want to be mad anymore, but you don't know how to stop it. So this is actually how you direct your brain when it has a pattern that you're saying right now, I don't want you to be doing. Okay? So what you're going to learn to do is you're going to learn to talk to your subconscious. It thrives when you talk to it. Yes, it does. It thrives. Until 6 years ago, I did not know the importance of being a direct driver of my mind and what it's doing. So again, what is it that you do? Command statements. So here are some command statements. I wrote them down of what you can say. And these command statements start to tell your brain what it is that it wants you to feel, because you only can feel what you have put in. So you have a thought, you have a situation, you attach an emotion to it, and then the brain creates a feeling. That is how the brain creates your feelings. Once you know that, then you can understand. If I have a situation that happens in my life, if I attach a high vibe reaction to it, my brain will make me feel like I can handle and navigate and be patient through the process. But if you have a low vibe situation and you attach a low vibe emotion, the brain has to keep you in that, because that's what you fed it to do. And then when it's a pattern, which is what we learned, that's what we learned growing up. Something unwanted happens, we have an intense lower vibe emotion, and then we create a feeling that we can't control, and it's just going all over and doing everything. So far, am I being understood? What do you think so far? Isn't it very interesting to learn about your mind? So here are some command statements. I'm just going to state them. So this is a very good one. This is what you have to help your brain understand. My words always enrich and expand my world. They do. Whether or not it's your words that you're doing that are lower vibe, okay, they're going to close your world. But if you want your words to always enrich, this is the statement you say. My words always enrich and expand my world, because you have to understand your words have prospering power. Okay? My words have power for me and others now. Every day and in every way, things are getting better and better for me through my positive words, my positive thoughts, my positive attitudes, and my positive actions. I only have power to receive and give positive words. So these are things, when you just keep repeating them as your command statements right before you go to bed. I'm not talking about doing this all day for, several hours. It's just prepping your brain at night before you go to bed. Then you go to sleep and you say, I am prospering now. I am prospering now. Or I and all I love are prospering now. And you do that till you go to sleep. And that is what your brain will focus on. That is what it'll do. That's why some people, when they watch scary movies at night, or they watch things and they just can't go to sleep, and they wake up scared and they're having things, that's because of what you're feeding in the mind. So the more you learn to, right before you go to bed, to prep that brain, to calm it down. That's why sometimes people will listen to music, or some people will do meditation and things like that. The way, though, that these ones are doing is that you say what you want. Now, there's going to be a reaction, whether or not you really will believe it or not. Okay? And so because of that, when you take the breath, which is what you want to do after your comment and statements, it's in a follow-along video that I have that I give to individuals. It's on my channel. That actually serves as a calmer immediately for the brain. But as you keep repeating these statements, and as your brain is still like trying to We're like, okay. We make the statement so that the brain is not contraindicating or resisting it. So you can do your statements isn't it wonderful that all is well with me and my family? Or why is it that everything is so wonderful with me and my family? Command statement saying, hey, I've decided everything is wonderful and calm with me and my family. Okay? So those are the things that help us to know if we say those things in those way and then do the breath, the brain will start to not resist the command statements that you're putting in. And so then when you're going to bed, by the time you go to bed and you're saying to yourself, I'm prospering, or I am loved, I am supported, all is well, the brain is going to accept that. It'll accept it. Why is it that people's brains don't accept or want to accept all is well? Because their surroundings, things are going on. And they haven't learned that your brain can actually navigate them. It doesn't have to have emotional distress just because lower vibe situations are happening. We were taught, yes, that's what you do, because we're taught, meaning we're watching and we're mimicking. We don't see people have a situation go on and put a high vibe to it very often. Even though you probably have heard of, once you've fallen off the horse, get back up and try again. That is actually a high vibe putting on. That is actually one that you'll hear people say. But that's what you do in everything. But in most cases, we've already been trained there are certain things that we have to get upset about. If someone calls us a name, we have to get upset. If someone says something offensive to us, we have to get upset. If we have lost something, as in maybe a loved one or a pet, or we have a sense of loss, okay, resentment. You did something and then, someone didn't appreciate it, or someone took advantage of you. We were taught that those are things that you put a lower vibe emotion to and you express it in whatever form that you wish. But the thing is we can do that, but you have to decide, how do you want to feel after someone has done something? Do you want to feel that you can navigate through it, that it's light, momentary, or you want to feel that it's something that is weighing you down and you're thinking about every day, and it's making every day hard? Is that making sense? So we get to use command statements. Now, I love telling people that they can use scriptures as command statements. They're really good, because sometimes when we're looking around, that's the emotional intelligence part that is put into the information that we mailed all together at DIYmentalboost.com. It's a free resource, no cost. It's supported by donors. And so it's very important to know that we have tools within ourselves. And once we're guided a little bit, we can know how to use them. So if you like a scripture, anything that you believe is a source, that the information is accurate and that the information is true, that you could put that in. Okay? And that's what the brain, the subconscious brain, will do for you. Okay? So our habit to attach sadness, guilt, worry needs to be replaced if we want the brain to produce a different emotion. You have to the high vibe. Now, I do have other videos on what high vibe is, because people ask me that all the time. So I'm not going to express it right now, but there's a video that I have, or a couple of them, that talk about how to attach a high vibe. Because you're like, what? How in the world can just something awful has happened to me? How am I going to have a high vibe to it? Well, we were not trained to do that. So it's not automatic. It's automatic for us to put a low vibe. And so what I love sharing is the fact that your brain, it has the power for you to decide how you want to react. You don't have to react the way you used to act if you don't want to, or where you keep saying, I don't want to act this way, I don't want to act this way, or I don't want to think this way, I don't want to feel this way, but yeah, you still are. You can enhance that. And that, it's more than just an enhance. It's actually a rewire. That's what neuroplasticity allows you to do. Now, on my channel, DIYmentalboost.com, all the tools are there, and also on this YouTube. All the tools are there for you to use to start using the Rewire. It's pleasant, fast, and lasting. It is not difficult to do. The tool is just literally a video that is a follow along, or if you want to do a worksheet, and you just fill it out, and then your brain does the work. If you want to know how those steps work, like I actually made videos so people understand why it does work. Okay? And so when we're doing command statements, it does work while we're sleeping. And people don't know it. Isn't that so simple? Wouldn't that be a nice tool if you know all along that you can direct your brain and tell it how you want it to feel? There's nothing wrong with lower vibe emotions. They're indicators. They tell us what to do. When we tolerate them, ignore them, and don't pay attention, they turn into blaring alarms that people want to completely become distressed and emotional over it. Okay? And even with certain patterns that people are having, there's not instruction on how to change their thought patterns of what's creating them to do behaviors that is impeding them. It's making it difficult for them to relate, to keep a job, to stay in a relationship. All of those things can be addressed. And because of the gap in our education, unaware, I was 48 before I understand how much superpower we have with our subconscious. It is our superpower. You don't need to become a superhero that you see on the Marvels to get superpower. Once you start to use it, there's so many things you can use it with and benefit from it. And that's what my channel does. It breaks it down in areas of life. It's relationships, whether it be family, whether it be husband, wife, partner, finances, your career, your job, spirituality, every area of life that you can think of. You can enhance it once you find out about the gift that we've been given up here. It is a gift we were given and how it was wonderfully designed. Our mind is wonderfully designed. The designer was remarkable. The education that we've gotten about that wonderful little tool we have has been limited. And that has been my goal since I started. I love sharing with people how to elevate the way they're navigating in life. If you're wanting more out of life, if you're wanting to have more productivity, efficiency, that's possible for every individual once they understand how their brain works, how it works with repetition of the things we're feeling, the things that we're saying, and how we can rewire them if we wish to. So that's a power that's in our power. That's a power that's in our power. It's a power that is in our power. So again, here are some things. If you could always remember about, oh, this one I love. I love this one for success. This one is, I now let go of worn out condition and worn out things. Order is established in my body, mind, and affairs. You know how sometimes you got something you don't want and you're using it over and over again? That's a command statement you can put into your brain at night. A command statement. Say all these positive command statements of what you want. Breathe through them if your body is saying, that's not really for me. That's not the way it works for me. Just take a breath and keep going. You're going to not do it very long, maybe like 5 minutes. And then when you're ready to go to bed, because I was prepping it, you'll just say, all is well for me and my family. All is well for me and my family. Or I prosper in all things. I prosper in all things. Me and my family. And you just say that until you go to sleep. Now, for this particular method, it's not as instantaneously as the 3-step thought process that is on my website that is with all the videos. Okay, it's different because this is more for people who are really, really busy or they're really overwhelmed with what's going on in life. And so they need to have an easier method that's effective too. So you will actually do this for 7 days in a row. Yeah, 7 days in a row. And see how that at the end of 7 days, See what your mind is saying. You'll know, because you'll know what your mind is always saying now. Whether it's overthinking, it's thinking things you don't want it to think, it's feeling things you don't want it to feel. Okay, you already know. And you'll notice a difference. You'll notice more calmness and more peace up inside here. See, a lot of people are really good with presenting on the outside that everything is good. You don't know that what they're thinking, that they're holding it all in. And if you want to be that person who has it inside and outside, that calmness, neuroplasticity is what you learn to do. We didn't learn it in school. It's a gap in our education, but we can fill it as adults. It's our responsibility to be in charge. We don't have to be victims to what our brain is saying, because now we know that we can actually rewire anything, any pattern. You just have to practice it and get used to using it and knowing that you can do it. So again, what am I saying? This is a simple one. If you're fatigued, mental fog, too busy, you don't really want to, okay? There's not anything you need to learn. I'm just passing on information so you can understand what I'm saying is possible. And then it's up to you to decide if you wish to use the tools to do it. So another one is, my seemingly impossible good now comes to pass. The unexpected now happens. The unexpected good now happens. Goodness goes before me, making clear, easy, and successful ways for me. I give thanks for my whirlwind success. Command statements, if you actually use things like now, ever increasing, it works really good. And any adjective, is it adjectives? Yeah. Any adjectives that you use that make it colorful, that makes a big difference. So another one we have is, my power is God's power, and it's irresistible. So if you're a person who is the spiritual person and you have a strong faith, but you're wondering why you're still having anxiety, and you're probably thinking, well, that's just a human natural response. But actually, it's a learned response, and we can unlearn it. What is rightly mine is given me under grace. The genius within me is now released. You can use any statements that you want that resonate with you. I make friends with hindrances, and every obstacle becomes a stepping stone. Everything in the universe, visible and invisible, is working to bring me to my own. I am on the royal road of success, happiness, and abundance. All the traffic goes my way. So all of these statements, there you can see that they're like, some of them are like metaphors, but see, the brain loves that. So you would want to use something that your brain was already connected to, and then you attach it. Okay, it's like borrowing that same emotion and connection and resonation that you had with that metaphor or something, you can bring it to this. So that's why in this one, it's talking about the road. Okay. I like this one. I will not weary of well-doing, for when I least expect it, I shall reap. Okay. So you're not going to weary from all that you're doing for trying to do for your family or to do at your job, because that's what a lot of people, they're stressed and they're tired. But the more they say they're tired, they don't understand that they're encouraging the mind to stay in that tired state. There's a mental tired and a physical tired. And most people are mentally tired. The physical tired, is just you've exerted yourself a lot. And once you rest, you're rejuvenated and ready to go. But if it's mental, no matter how much you rest, no matter how much you sleep, no matter how little you do, you still are feeling weighed down and heavy. That's the difference. Okay? Physical tired, get rest, get sleep, get rejuvenated and restored. But if it's a mental tired, no matter what you do, it's still there. That's the difference. Okay? So you're going to use command statements. Command statements to empower your mind. Okay? Let's see. Here's another good one. All obstacles now vanish from my pathway. I love it. If you don't like the word pathway, you can use another word that you resonate with. Okay? Rhythm, harmony, and balance are now established in my mind, body, and affairs. Okay? You want to use words resonate with you, metaphors that resonate with you. You can borrow from other people if it resonates. You can change a little word here and there if part of it is, and that's the way it works. So command statements, prep your brain with them. Go to sleep and say while you're falling asleep one of those favorite command statements. Or all is prospering now. All that I've said now is going deep within me, and it will reveal itself in the morning. Anything. I just made that up. You can do anything. And that's the way it works. That's the way it works. Another one that I have here is I do not resist the situation. See, when a situation comes up and we become desperate about it or fearful of it, it does not help us to find a solution. It's telling the brain to stay in the state of, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I can't figure it out. So again, like I said, these command statements are instructing your mind how it wants to navigate through life. And you're going to do it for 7 days. And you're going to start seeing changes. Now this, like I said, method is especially for those who are mental fog, really fatigued, don't have time, really busy, because this is just 5 minutes. 5-6 minutes at night before you're going to bed. You're going to say some command statements to yourself, or you're going to read them, or you're going to watch one of my videos that has them, and then you're going to go to bed ritualistically saying a statement that is empowering you, and then you'll fall asleep to it. Again, the subconscious will chew on that while you're sleeping and produce good things within you. So if you're saying there's only good programs within me helping me, the brain will know on its own to start getting rid of those other ones. That's how easy it is to start using it when you know it. Now, of course, it's going to take a little practice, depending on you. I don't know how you feel about learning or trying new things, or I don't know how you respond, but you do. Okay? And all you have to do is be persistent. If your brain is saying, oh, I don't know about this, that's okay. You can still try it and see what happens, right? Doesn't hurt to try, and there is no cost. It just takes a few minutes every night. We invest so much time scrolling on our phone, and then 2 hours laying saying, where did I do my time? I wasted my time. I was supposed to be doing this. So 5 minutes, that's all you got to take, 5 minutes, okay? Here are some more command statements. My good now flows to me in a steady, unbroken, and ever increasing stream of success, happiness, and abundance. This is a good one. There are no lost opportunities in my life. As one door shuts, another door opens. You can even change that and say there are no lost opportunities. My doors never shut. You can do whatever you want. Their brain will start to create that for you. It'll give you that vibe. Basically, instead of being a person where no was said once, you keep going and you become the person who everyone eventually just says yes to you. Not because you're browbeating them, but that's how you are as a person, that when you go to people, they're drawn to you or resonate with you. And you do that by your command statements. I didn't know all this stuff growing up because I didn't know about the energy, vibration. Those are all on videos too. All of that works together. And so when you don't know why somebody's talking about vibration, someone's talking about energy, someone's talking about something, you think they're all separate little things, but they're not. Okay? You can connect them all together. And that's what I do at DIY Mental Boost. I basically help you to, when you hear someone saying, oh, I did this, your brain will say, okay, yeah, I know why that's working so well. Or I know why that didn't work for them so well. Because you know about neuroplasticity, you know about subconscious wiring, you know about emotion. You'll know about all of that stuff. And then it'll just meld. It's very important when you learn these things, you use them on yourself and get that benefit. Because then people are going to notice you got changed. And they're going to say, hey, what's going on? And that's your opportunity to express what you've learned and how they can benefit. So again, command statements is what we're talking about today, so that we use them at night before we're going to sleep, so that our subconscious, while we're sleeping, will eat them up and create good feelings and good programs within you. And also undo programs that you do not want to be there. So people say, oh, nothing but bad happens to me. Rewire that. As soon as you rewire that and you start putting out a different message, because this is the way it has to work. You reap what you sow. What you put in is what you get out. You plant an apple seed, you're going to get an apple tree. How flourishing that apple tree is also up to you. That's science. We're just doing neuroplasticity. We're just doing science. You learn science. You learn that all of a sudden you've been given a wonderful gift. Your designer has given you a wonderful gift to be able to navigate this world. And before, you were navigating through it without it. Without it. It wasn't all connected. You didn't see how it was all connected together. And so once you see how it's connected together, you just start using all the different aspects. It's like somebody who becomes a gardener and they know exactly just what to do when they see something. And that's what your brain will become like. It's the gift it was given. Neuroplasticity is the brain's design to actually adapt. So no matter what's going on, it adapts and learns how to navigate around it. So basically, blocks always become they're tiny. They're not even blocks. They're just something that you've got to, navigate a little over. You'll hear people say positive affirmations. Why don't the positive affirmations work? Why do you think? Well, because they have a stronger program in them, which is why they're saying the affirmation. They're trying to overcome that. But what I like to tell people is use your affirmations to create things. Okay? When I use affirmations, I use it to create something. I'm not trying to get rid of something that I don't want. I'm just empowering my brain to say, whoa, you need to figure this out. There's something it can do. Now, for me, I have a lot of spirituality, and I believe that there is a designer of our mind. And I believe that he has power that he gives us. So between the power he gives us and then neuroplasticity and my own ability that I have invested my time to learn about it, to know how to use it, create great things, great big things, big things, little things, small things. And you learn to be grateful and praising the one who created this so that you can do that. So I like this one. My poise is built upon a rock. I see clearly and I act quickly. I love that one. Let's see here. Every person is a golden link in the chain of my good. Every person in my life is a golden link in the chain of my good. So if you got someone who's not good in your life, I would start saying this. Because this is what will help your brain to start to think, say, and do things automatically that actually empower that person without you nagging them to be a golden link. Right now, we love to do all the things to help person keep in who we don't want them to be. We love to speak it, and therefore we get to keep that particular individual. They're not encouraged to level up, as in the fact not you encouraging them, but your vibe, your presence empowers them to look within themselves and make their own change. See, most of us, we want to tell the person. We do a lot of do it year after year after year. And like, it's not working. Why are we doing it? So I tried the silence one. And to not be after people, not be after them, but to empower them. So I put in program like my words empower others to elevate their own selves, right? That's what you want, right? So I am an irresistible magnet for all that belongs to me by divine right, okay? So everything that belongs to me by divine right, I am an irresistible magnet to it. I love these things. And I say them with such flourish and enjoyment that they really work well in me. But the more enthusiasm you put into it, the more you do. But if you don't have enthusiasm, it's okay. If you just repetitiously, if I said it like, goodness and mercy shall follow me all my days of my life, it's still going to work. It'll take a little longer, but the repetition of saying it is what makes it work. It's science. That's how, do you know, how do you know a song that you could sing now that you sang when you were a teenager? It's not because you memorize it, sat down with a piece of paper. I never memorize songs. I listen to songs now and I'm like, how do I remember that? Because repetition. Okay? When you use your subconscious, you get to use less repetition. Without your subconscious, if you're doing your conscious mind, you have to use a lot of repetition, but it's okay. It'll still get you the same results. But if you use the subconscious, you decrease that repetition by like 90%. Okay? Oh, goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of abundance forever. I have plenty. That's a simple one. No one will be able to stand against me as long as I live. I am only courageous and strong. I do not deviate either to the right or to the left. I always act wisely. You getting what I'm saying? And you can use whatever affirmations. And don't be afraid. If you're working on something and you're putting in an affirmation and you're thinking you don't like it, that's okay. Just change the affirmation to something else. Take out the other one and put a new one in. You're going to love your brain. You're going to love, it's like a party. So let me explain a little bit about your brain real quick. And I'm going to read it so I say it clearly. So when we're dealing with neuroplasticity, it is neurons that fire together, they wire together. And that is why the brain is the way it is and how it learns to adapt. That's why you learn so much so fast when you from 0 to 7, okay, absorbing, that brain was in that state, designed to be in that state, so you can do that. Well, depending on how you learn, you can actually continue to absorb quickly and learn. I tell people, forget the mistake, learn the lesson, and just keep going. But a lot of people want to make the mistake, feel all bad, get all guilty, do all kinds of stuff, and then they can never change the mistake. They keep repeating it. But if you learn the lesson, rewire, learn the lesson, forget the mistake, you can keep progressing very well in life. So the neuron is a key player in the brain. These are tiny cells that send out and receive signals and messages so they can communicate with each other. Your brain has somewhere between 80 billion and 100 billion neurons. Neurons tend to grasp together to form neural tracts, which will be like the streets and highways in a city analogy. When you have a thought, neurons in your brain fire up and create electrical impulses. That was the neurons fire together, okay? So these impulses tend to travel through along the similar pathway and release tiny chemicals called neurotransmitters along the way. These neurotransmitters are like the construction crew that builds the roads, making it easier for the messages to be delivered. You can imagine it as a dirt road, but as more of a traffic. That neuron signals travel the dirt road. The road gets upgraded to a paved street. If the traffic continues, it gets upgraded to a highway. And so that's what's going on. When we're doing something repeatedly, even if it's something we don't want, we're ingraining it to become upgraded to stick. So the more you use lower vibe emotions, the more it's going to stick and you're going to use them. And that is why all of a sudden, now his breathing is annoying you. Or what she's doing is like a dripping water. She's a nag all the time, you feel. Okay? So as you learn new things and experience the world around you, these connections grow stronger. For example, when you are learning to ride a bike, you may be unsteady and find it hard to coordinate all the different muscles along with your ability to balance. It's a lot of, right? But then now, it's no big deal. What I'm sharing with you now seems like you have to do a lot of little coordinating because it's different. Okay? But once you get it, and your brain will upgrade for you on your own, you won't have to do a lot of work. It'll be upgrading, dirt to, what did it say? A dirt road to a regular road pavement mode, and then you have traffic and highways, okay? So the more you practice, the more the neurons controlling your muscles and your ability to balance fire together, which makes it much easier as you practice. Neurons are wiring together and forming neural networks. That's why practice and repetition are important for improving your skills. And what's important is that as you're learning to do those things, you have a high vibe feeling attached to them. That is what keeps it even easier. Because if you're learning something and you don't really like learning, the feel of learning now, maybe because someone was picking on you, or you said the wrong answers, or you're told you're slow, or you're doing something else, or you have this label put on you and that label put on you, holds you back from your brain allowing you to do the skills. Okay? So whether you're improving your skills, playing the piano, learning a language, neural networks are created and strengthened the more times they communicate together. And they're stronger in their connection depending on the vibe that you put to them. Scientists have been saying in the field, neurons that wire together, fire together. Or fire together. Yeah, neurons that fire together, wire together. So certain thinking or neural patterns can be chalked up to this kind of repeated synchronized activity. So the more you get better at learning something, then all of a sudden learning will become easier. The more you do something and you like it, the easier it is. That's why you can drive without much concentration. Your have you ever been going down the road and you're like, oh, I'm at work? Because the brain has done it so much. It did it for you. Your subconscious drove down there for you while you were doing other things. But you have to understand that helpfulness can also be unhelpfulness that it's doing because of what was put in, the continued repetition. So we did learning how, people will call them like affirmations, but I like to call them command statements. Because even though an affirmation is good, whether it's high or low is an affirmation, because anything you repeatedly say, think, do, or say, but I like to use the word command statements because it gives the idea of who's in charge. Affirmations are actually affirming, but because it's been around for so long, people think of affirmations as they're wimpy. Like they're just, made up stuff that you just kind of do, but it doesn't really have much power. Command statements gives me the idea that it has power and direction. So I call it command statements. So you can also do the same. There is going to be a video up on my website. I think it'll probably pop up. If this was a replay, it would probably pop up. It will pop up at the end of the video. So you would just do that. And 7 days challenge. See if you can do that. And you'll see there'll be a calmer. Because what we want to do is we want to help our brain to know that it can navigate anything. And then you want it to know it can do it automatically on its own. And when you're doing these repetitions, whether you're doing command statements or whether you're doing the actual 3-step thought process, which is very fast, it does it in the moment. You don't got to be going. It'll going to elevate it. And each time you work something, it'll elevate it immediately. That's the difference. That's why I like those. Because it's immediate. You actually get to see the difference immediately after you've done a self-session. And that's awesome, isn't it? And your brain does that. You direct it, and it will do what you say. This is Renee Thomas with DIY Mental Boost. I'm going to wrap it up. I had a very interesting time today trying to get in here. But I made it. I did it. And I'll learn more and more how to smoothly make my connections with this YouTube between the phone and the other thing. But thank you for being here. Does anybody have questions? I love questions. I've been talking nonstop because I was behind. Nonstop. You have any questions? Have any thoughts? You like what I said? Didn't like what I said? I give myself my own little heart. Okay, well, thank you for coming in. We've been here for 55 minutes. It's a good one. I hope that you appreciate it. So you can go back and write down some of those statements that I mentioned in here, or re-look over some of the information anytime. But thanks for being here. This is Renee Thomas with DIY Mental Boost. DIY Mental Boost. My website is DIYmentalboost.com. I am actually always on at 7 on Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Wednesdays on YouTube. You have questions as you're using the tools, you can come and ask me. I have a plethora of information that I can share, and you'll have a lot of questions because what you'll get excited. I'm excited. Anything. It's kind of like my hobby now. It's like a fun hobby for me. So I hope you get excited about your brain. It's your best friend, and that it's actually your advocate, and being synchronized. It can flow with spirituality also in your life. Ciao, ciao.